Good morning, everyone. I'm Karen Kate Coniado. Together with my group partner, Miss Lizelle Eyas, we will be discussing the BECK Depression Inventory. For our topic outline, for BECK Depression Inventory, we have the number one, the description of the test. Second is the administration. Third is the scoring. Fourth is the interpretation of the test. And lastly is the summary and the conclusion. So, good morning again, everyone. I'm Karen Kate Coniado, and I will be discussing the description of the test and the administration. So, let's start with the defining what is BDI or the Beck Depression Inventory. So, the Beck Depression Inventory or the BDI is a 21-item self-report questionnaire that is used to measure the severity of depressive symptoms that allows the clinicians to assess depression levels that range from mild to severe. The BDI is used for screening depression and monitoring the treatment progress, and it was developed by psychologist Aaron T. Beck, who is globally recognized as the father of the cognitive behavior therapy, or known as CBT, and one of the world's leading researchers in psychopathology. He is credited with shaping the field of mental health, and the American Psychologist has called him one of the five most influential psychotherapists of all time. His contribution to the field of mental health and the tangible impact he had on the lives of so many people are astonishing. Aaron T. Beck is a prolific theorist, scientist, researcher, and a writer. He authored or co-authored 25 books and published over 600 articles in his lifetime. He was an emeritus professor of psychiatry at the University of Pennsylvania, where he worked on developing and testing his theories for almost 70 years. He also served as president of Emeritus of the Beck Institute, where he inspired a generation of CBT practitioners and trainees with his wisdom, humor, and grace. The BDI was first released in 1961, which includes the 21 items that correspond to symptoms of depression, and it measures the severity of depression, but it is not a diagnostic test. For the BDI-2, a score of 10 to 18 indicates mild depression, and those score above 30 indicates severe depression. In in current version, the BDI-2 is designed for individuals aged 13 and above. It is composed of items relating to symptoms of depression such as hopelessness and irritability. Cognition such as guilt or feelings of being punished, as well as physical symptoms such as fatigue, weight loss, and lack of interest in sex. So there are three versions of the BDI. The original BDI, which was first published in 1961, and later on it is revised in 1978 as the BDI 1A, and the BDI 2, which was published in 1996. The BDI is widely used as an assessment tool by healthcare professionals and researchers in a variety of settings. The development of the BTI made an impact event in psychiatry and in psychology. It represented a shift in healthcare professionals' view of depression from a Freudian psychodynamic perspective to one guided by the patient's own thoughts or cognitions. It has also established the principle that instead of attempting to develop a psychometric tool based on a possibly invalid theory, self-report questionnaires, when analyzed using techniques such as the factor analysis, can suggest theoretical constructs. The BDI was originally developed to provide a quantitative assessment of the intensity of depression because it is designed to reflect the depth of depression. It can also monitor the changes over the time and provide an objective measure for judging improvement and the effectiveness or otherwise of treatment methods. So the BDI includes 21 items that correspond to symptoms of depression. So there are four categories that are grouped to define the symptoms of depression. We have the somatic or the physical symptoms. So in this category, it looks at the physical ways of the depression can manifest in the body. Depression isn't just an emotional experience, it can also have a very real physical effects. So, for example, is the changes in sleep patterns, having the difficulty of sleeping, sleeping too much, or early morning awakenings. Also, next is the appetite disturbance, the loss of appetite, overeating or changes in weight, the fatigue or loss of energy, and the unexplained aches and pains such as headaches, muscle tension, and digestive issues. The second category is the affective or the emotional symptoms. This category focuses on the core emotional experiences that is associated with depression. For example, is the feeling of sadness, emptiness, or hopelessness, the loss of interest or pleasure in activities that were once enjoyable, the irritability, frustration, or agitation, and feelings of guilt or worthlessness. The third category is the cognitive symptoms. This category explores how depression can affect a person's thought patterns and mental processes. For example, is having the difficulty of concentrating, making decisions, or remembering things, the negative thoughts about oneself, the world, or the future, the self-criticism and feelings of inadequacy, and the thoughts of death or suicide. Lastly is the vegetative symptoms. This category specifically focuses on the changes in essential biological functions that are often disrupted in depression. For example, is the significant changes in sleep or having the insomnia or the hypersomnia, the changes in appetite or eating habits, or the loss of appetite or increased cravings, and the loss of libido or the interest in sex. Now let's proceed to the administration, which are the setting up the test. Read the text item carefully and get acquainted with the administration procedure and try to administer the test in a distraction-free environment. For number one, which is setting up the test. As a facilitator, you should familiarize with the BECK depression inventory. This means that you should first take time to thoroughly understand what the BECK depression inventory about. You read through the questions and understand the scoring system before you give it to the client or to the one who will take the exam. Second is you read the items carefully. You pay close attention to each question or statement in the back depression inventory. Make sure you understand what it's asking and how it relates to symptoms of a depression. Third is get acquainted with the administration procedure. Learn the specific instructions for giving the BECK depression inventory, and you as a facilitator should know how to explain the questions to the persons taking it and how to record their answers. And lastly is try to administer the test in a distraction-free environment. As taking the test, find a quiet and comfortable place where the persons taking the BDI can focus without interruptions. This will help ensure accurate or this will help to have an accurate results. For the part 2 of the administration, we have here the try to answer as accurately as you can. So focus on honestly reflecting your feelings and experiences when responding to each question. Do not try to give answers that you think someone wants to hear, but be truthful about how you've been feeling. Second is you score the items. After you've answered all the questions, follow the instructions for assigning a numerical value to each response. This is how you quantify the answers of the client. Third is you assess the score. Once you have the total score, compare it to the scoring guidelines that is provided with the BECK depression inventory. This will help you understand the severity of your potential depressive symptoms. And lastly is keep track of your depression. So if you're using the BDI to monitor your progress, record your scores over the time. And this will allow you to see if your symptoms are improving or it stays the same or worsening it. And that would be all for my part. And now let's listen to Miss Eyas as she report the the scoring, the interpretation of the test, and the summary and conclusion of our report. Thank you all so much.